forecast first on KOLR 10 News, Ozarks First.
It is hot out there. Heat advisory has been expanded to include Springfield now. We've kind of added another road to the north, and now an excessive heat warning is in effect to the south. That does include Branson, West Plains, and Joplin. Heat index values at 110 today. Pretty quiet as far as rain goes right now, but again, the temperatures 89 degrees already in Springfield. It's 86 in Branson and 85 in Rolla, with the humidity already feels like the middle 90s. 95 is your real feel in Springfield right now. Temperatures soar into the middle and upper 90s. We're going for 98 degrees in Springfield today. That's without the humidity. We've got updates to the severe weather outlook for today. An enhanced risk now noses into the area. Details in a few minutes. KOLR 10 News Midday starts right now.
Now from Ozarks First, you're watching KOLR 10 News Midday.
This time, all 4 bodies that were missing have been recovered by the Highway Patrol dive team.
That was Stone County Sheriff Doug Rader you just heard from with the latest information on recovery efforts after the Ride the Ducks boat accident. That does mean that the death toll is a total of 17. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Barnes. Everyone involved in the accident has been accounted for, and that means we do want to move on to some team coverage right now on the investigation. We'll start this morning with our Joe Morano, who is live at the Showboat Branson Bell parking lot where a news conference just happened not too long ago. Joe, what other updates can you tell us?
First, what you just heard from just there, Lauren, was about 40 minutes ago or so. They had just recovered those final 4 bodies, as you said. At 9 o'clock, though, just a couple of hours ago, Governor Mike Parson actually addressed the media here, and just his top request for Missourians was to ask for thoughts and prayers for everyone dealing with issues regarding this right now. However, there was some questions going on asking whether or not the company should have been operating with all the severe weather we had yesterday, but the governor actually stepped in and wanted to point out that that's not what this is about right now. You need to focus on an investigation that's going to be ongoing.
A lot of people involved trying to answer all the questions that you're asking this morning. It's going to take some time to really be able to answer those questions on that. We don't know what the status of all the events yet. That's still under investigation. Until that investigation is completed, I don't think it's my place or anyone's place to speculate.
So there still will be a lot of investigating to happen right now. So we do have some details, but that's where we bring in Daniel Shedd right now to help us out and sort of decipher through this a little bit, because it was the Stone County Sheriff that we heard from earlier today as well.
Yeah, it was Doug Rader that we relied on last night for information, really throughout the night, and then again this morning. Once again, we asked him some difficult questions. We got a lot of comments on Facebook about why were they out on the water? Was this something that, did they have life jackets? You know, these are all questions that are out there for the public, and it really did. It came down to, and really just within 40 minutes ago, it was, we don't have all the answers yet, and we're still in recovery mode. Here's what he had to say.
NTSB will be here shortly, the Coast Guard, the Highway Patrol. I mean, this is a huge joint investigation between all of us. We're just working together this time to try to figure out exactly what did happen.
Now, that was Sheriff Doug Rader with the Stone County Sheriff's Office. And like I said, he's really been our point person this entire time. We're going to expand our coverage even more, continuing coverage. Crystal Blair joins us now. You had the unique opportunity to be here last night. A lot of reporters didn't have the opportunity to be here. What was your experience like really coming into the Showboat Branson Bell and seeing what had happened?
Well, I'll tell you, Joe and Daniel, I was very, very shocked by the whole thing when I got the word, and it was terrifying for the families who were waiting here when we got here. They were sitting on the benches. There were people crying. And I think one of the most compelling things that I saw was a couple of people walking from the water area, and they were completely drenched. And one of the ladies got off of the boat, and everyone applauded for her. And I'm not sure what that was about. I don't know if they were happy that she was rescued, which I'm sure if that was the case. But it could have been that she was a rescuer. So this was just a great night of heroism. It really was.
You know, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to let people see you cry. You know, that's part of the process. And so that's what we did last night. We sat around the table, we did our job, we led when we needed to lead, and we sat back and we cried and grieved when we needed to cry and grieve.
And that's
No doubt very powerful words right there from her, right?
Absolutely, it was. And you know, they really rallied together fast. They really did. We got word almost immediately after this tragedy that City Hall was opening up for the family members who were grieving and anxious. So this city is known for warmth and hospitality, and it was definitely proved last night with our city leaders, elected officials, and law enforcement.
You mentioned the lady that was running out of here and getting applauded. Mayor Best shared the quick story with me. There was a young boy actually at City Hall who had soaking wet socks. And it was a good Samaritan that came in and helped dry that young boy's socks. And it's the smallest things, and that's really looking forward. We're dealing with tragedy, yes, but it brings out humanity, and you reminded how good the Ozarks are and how good the people are here in Branson.
Certainly some brave folks around here helping out others that definitely need it. One last note before we wrap our coverage here. Sheriff Rader had said that there's not too many more details other than all bodies are accounted for, because they now want to go to the families that have been affected by this and impacted, and they're going to report to them, and then we'll get some more information and we'll bring it to you guys. Always online, ozarksfirst.com. Our coverage in Branson is going to continue throughout the day and throughout the weekend, but for now, let's send it back to you, Lauren.
Joe, Daniel, and Crystal, thank you for your continued coverage this morning and your unique perspectives there live in the field. It's also important to mention that the National Transportation Safety Board has been investigating what happened on Table Rock Lake. We also heard Sheriff Rader push for information at the press conference this morning to be sent to the NTSB. If you have anything, you should send it to witness@ntsb.gov. That's the email address there. And you may remember some other high-profile incidents involving the duck boats around the Ozarks and America. Unfortunately, this is not the duck's first tragedy. In the summer of 1999, a duck boat sank while floating on Lake Hamilton in Arkansas, killing 13 of the 20 on board. That boat began taking on water quickly, sinking in just a matter of minutes. The company continued to operate from then on, but refrained from entering the water. As we know, sometimes they do stay on land. And moving to Philadelphia in 2010, a Ride the Ducks boat collided with a barge on the Delaware River, sending that boat and its 35 passengers underwater. Two of them, a 16 and 20-year-old, were killed. In that case, the driver of the tugboat pushing the barge admitted to being distracted by his cell phone. He spent a year in prison. Ride the Ducks Branson has posted this on Facebook. We are deeply saddened by the tragic accident that occurred at Ride the Ducks Branson. This incident has deeply affected all of us. Words cannot convey how profoundly our hearts are breaking. We will continue to do all we can to assist the families who were involved and the authorities as they continue with the search and rescue. The safety of our guests and employees is our #1 priority. Ride the Ducks will be closed for business while we support the investigation and to allow time to grieve for the families and community. Adding, thank you for your support, and we ask that your thoughts and prayers be with the families during this time. It's about 8 past the hours. We take a live look outside right now from our tower cam. Elisa, skies are clearing up this weekend, and maybe the bright spot that we need, right?
By this weekend, yes. Saturday, Sunday, going to be gorgeous. But today, we've got to get through another possible round of severe weather. Details on that right after the break.
From KOLR 10 Ozarks First, this is KOLR 10 News Midday. Now weather with meteorologist Elisa Rafa.
It is hot out there this midday. It is 89 degrees in Springfield already. A heat advisory is in effect. We've got calm winds, the sunshine, dew points over 70, so that humidity is kicking and it will fuel the possibility of some storms as we head through the afternoon. We had a round of some storms this morning. Some of them were severe with some large hail. Those have moved out. We've got just a couple of clouds out there now. Quiet but just hot conditions. This has been the headache for us. We've got this low pressure swinging over parts of the Great Lakes, the warm front coming through Ohio, the cold front draped up just to the north. That cold front is going to come through the area as we head through the afternoon today. And what's going to happen is it's going to interact with a couple of different things. We've got this energy in the jet stream. This is winds, very strong winds at that. Typically something we usually see in the spring when we talk about severe weather, so this is a little bit unusual for July, but we've got these very strong winds in the jet stream which act as to have wind shear to get those storms to kind of grow and spin a little bit. And then we've got instability, that fuel and food for storms that's only going to explode with the heat and humidity of the day. The atmosphere is just going to really eat at that as we crank this heat and humidity with heat index values at 110. So all of that being said, we've got this kind of almost spring-like setup in the middle of summer, and the severe weather risk is a moderate risk for parts of Tennessee and Kentucky. Now closer to home, our risk is much less numerous, much less widespread. We'll miss out on, I guess, quote-unquote, the worst of it. However, we still have that slight risk of severe storms across the area, and now we've got this enhanced risk of severe storms that's nosing into part of the Ozarks. So what I think is going to happen here is we'll have these storms, some of them strong to severe, especially in that slight risk area, and then in the enhanced risk is where they'll be the strongest as they scoot over to the spot where they'll be even stronger than that, right? And in this enhanced risk is where we could keep at least an isolated tornado threat this afternoon and evening. So winds 70 miles per hour, that's going to be a threat. Hail up to the size of golf balls, tornado threat, low area wide, but especially if you're in that corner in the orange, that's where I think the greatest threat lies, and then localized flash flooding, also a low-end threat. Here are the storms. I really think they pop after about 2 o'clock. You can see they'll fire up out of Kansas and then scoot through the area. We'll have these storms, scattered showers and storms, again, some strong to severe. Temperatures, notice, are in the 90s. And then look at how it explodes as it gets towards that orange area. Remember, it was down here and then tries to exit out that way. A few storms could linger overnight, and then tomorrow, finally quiet weather. Mostly sunny skies, temperatures in the upper 80s and lower 90s. That storm pushes to the east. We'll be on the dry side of that storm, on the backside. So much less humid air fills in, even as the heat tries to get its way in with the humidity not kicking as much. It shouldn't feel terrible. 98 degrees today. Afternoon storms, again, some of those strong to severe. That heat index very hot. Heat advisory in effect for Springfield. Excessive heat warning to the south in Branson. 69 with a couple of storms overnight. Less humid, beautiful. 91 tomorrow. The weekend looks really nice. Mostly sunny and quiet next week.
We have some more coverage out of Branson straight ahead, including a chilling memorial that was created overnight and how the city of Branson is helping those families involved. Welcome back as we continue our developing coverage of the Ride the Ducks tragedy down in Branson. Here's video of a memorial for the people who have passed away. This is in the parking lot of the Ride the Ducks attraction. Flowers have been placed on the windshields of cars that were left there in the parking lot, never returned home. Loved ones have also come to pay their respects to the people they lost. And Branson city officials are helping the survivors of this deadly incident. They've set up a command post as well as a hotline. Branson City Hall is open to anyone affected, and Red Cross volunteers as well as chaplains will be available. There's also a number for concerned family members that you can call. 417-337-8515. Branson officials also say that even though they are not involved in this investigation logistically, they do want to help those affected in any way possible. And last night's thunderstorm brought winds close to 60 miles per hour. Right up next, Elisa is going to show us how that storm developed and really affected this incident after the break. What do you say? Can I what?
Yeah. That's what I did. Just
call and say hi.
Because I know the Brook Cat, I said, hey, I'm like at my sister station in the city.
Yes. Well, welcome back as we have some weather coverage. We want to take a look at the intense scene you see here last night that played a role in the Ride the Ducks tragedy. You can see the wind. We're just moving the water there to whitecaps as it pounds this dock. We want to bring in meteorologist Elisa Raffa now for some analysis here of how that storm played a role in this incident.
Yeah, those winds, very gusty, and you could see it on the water just kind of splashing those waves around and creating them, making them very rough and making them very big. This is the site of the capsizing at Table Rock Lake, again, just to the south and west of Branson. Now, we've got a loop of these storms, right? And you can see the reds and the yellows and the oranges. That's the very heavy rain, and you could even see some of that lightning there. And then I want you to look at the very thin green line as this line comes in. Look at the thin green line. That's the gust front where those very gusty winds kind of sat on the leading edge of those thunderstorms. If we look at the radial velocity, this shows us the winds by radar indicated, and if you see the pinks and the oranges there, that's where it's telling us that those were estimated at 40 to 50 to 60 miles per hour, and we saw those in reports at the airports. In Springfield, we hit a gust of 74 miles per hour. Branson West hit a gust at 52, and the Branson airport hit a gust at 63, and this was around the time of when that storm came through over the lake. The storm reports, again, not just around Branson. They started all the way up in Kansas as this whole line fired up there, and you could see the path that it took because it blew wind damage the whole way through. Multiple trees down, power lines down in the Springfield metro. This tree took the power line down and some power was out there. Roofs that were peeled away and shelf clouds that were just very impressive. We've got some video of the leading edge of that shelf cloud that was, again, that's where the gusty winds were, and from a meteorological standpoint, it was very impressive.
Very powerful time lapse there. Elisa, thank you for that. We'll be right back with a final recap of today's top story. Just to recap our breaking and developing story out of Table Rock Lake, 17 people are dead. Everyone has been accounted for. That's after a Ride the Ducks boat sank at Table Rock Lake last night. Of the 2 crew members, Stone County Sheriff Doug Rader says the captain survived. The driver, however, is dead. The sheriff is not able to answer 2 remaining questions that are pretty big: whether passengers wore life jackets, if life jackets were available, or if the forecast was checked beforehand. And also, President Donald Trump tweeted out his condolences to Missouri, saying, quote, "My deepest sympathies to the families and friends of those involved in the terrible boat accident, which just took place in Missouri. Such a tragedy, such a great loss. May God be with you all." Certainly, this is a story we'll be following throughout the day today, and you can expect live updates as often as possible on social media and tonight at 5 and 6. In the meantime, we have some weather to watch as well.
Yeah, scattered showers and storms. Some of those could be strong to severe, so please stay weather aware. Very hot, 98 degrees today. Less humid and beautiful through the weekend.
All right, we surely need it. Thank you, Elisa. Thanks for joining us right now. We'll see you back here at 5 o'clock.